too, for the invitation extended to the Michigan Chamber and for having me here tonight for dinner. These are interesting times to have somebody from a business organization remark about social responsibility, and I appreciate the opportunity to share some comments. Well, Dr. Wilcox looked at the dictionary and I went to Wikipedia. I was actually born right around the time he graduated. But I hope that offers me an opportunity to share another perspective too about leadership. I work for the Michigan Chamber of Commerce. We are one of the state's largest business organizations. We're also one of the largest state chambers of commerce in the country. We have almost 7,000 business members within our organization. And with our chamber federation of over 250 local chambers in the state, we represent nearly 250,000 Michigan employers and nearly half of the state's workforce within all of our organizations. Our organization is primarily a lobbying and legislative action or political organization, and I'm not here talking tonight about politics, but rather about leadership. Our mission is to promote conditions favorable to job creation and business growth. We also work very hard to support small business, which makes up 63% of our membership, and right now they seem to be the ones that are holding most of the water for keeping our jobs in the state. As a chamber, we're frequently referenced as a state leader. We've been recognized in numerous polls as being a leading lobbying organization. We're frequently called upon to join coalitions and lead efforts here in the state and nationally. We participate on U.S. Chamber of Commerce committees and move their agenda forward. But I think what's missed sometimes is the responsibility that comes with that leadership and some of the other things that we're recognized for. Our vision statement is actually to move Michigan forward through an economic, political, and social system based on individual freedom, incentive, opportunity, and responsibility, which are some of the themes that we're talking about tonight. Our core values reference building cooperative leaderships, teamwork, delivering leadership through action, accepting responsibility, and being held accountable for our actions while acting within a civil system. As part of the Chamber of Commerce, I also direct the Michigan Chamber Foundation, which is our charitable arm. We're responsible for the research, education, and leadership development programs within the Chamber. We have over 500 alumni from our Leadership Michigan program coming from business, community, and government associations. And they're charged with leading their communities and helping to move the state forward. Our leadership graduates have gone on to run community organizations, run for public office, and lead some of Michigan's most successful businesses. When we talk about effective leadership at the Chamber, a few values come to mind. First is having a vision. At the Michigan Chamber, we're very committed to the vision of our state to become a more prosperous and vibrant state, one that used to be affiliated with our name. We are the bed of some amazing innovation at the turn of the century. We have some world-class corporations, world-class education institutions. We're also the home of a very globally diverse economy. A number of international corporations exist here within the state. And when we talk about the vision of returning our state to this vibrant community, it's in the forefront of our minds that these businesses are the ones that create the jobs for people to work here in our state. And what's really disheartening at the Chamber right now is to see so many of our neighbors and friends out of work because of some of the decisions that have been made over the course of the last several years. And it's our job and our vision to see all those people back to work, returning back to the state, and to see our communities grow again. A second value that comes to mind about leadership is integrity. And I mentioned earlier that we're called upon many times to lead organizations. And I think that's because people believe that we'll enter into dialogue and agreements with integrity, that we're there to say what we mean and mean what we do, and that we'll follow through, that we're not there to call people names or to degrade somebody else's perspective, but we're there to listen, and that we're also going to make sure that everybody's points of view are listened to and respected. We try to be inclusive, and I know that's hard to believe from some of the reputations that we have, because we tend to have a very similar point of view, or one point of view. However, it's only with the dialogue that we have with many diverse different perspectives that we're able to come to resolutions, find compromise, and move agendas forward. Action is also a value that I think is important when it comes to leadership, because people who lead can talk all day, but if they're not able to make a decision and follow through and help move an agenda forward, like Dr. Wilcox said, people will not follow. One of the questions that I was asked to answer tonight was how our organization functions within the current economic crisis. With the collapse of the auto industry came a flood of challenges to business. As a result, our unemployment rates became the highest in the nation. The Chamber and its members have endured some of the most difficult times in recent memory, but we've committed to adapt and change within this new environment. And frequently we hear, when are things going to get back to normal? When are we going to return to a time that we're more familiar with? And we've taken the attitude at the Chamber that this is the new normal, that we are in a new era, a time to do more with less, which, over the last several decades, we've all been challenged to do more with less until we're at this point. But I think that's an amazing opportunity to listen to the new perspectives, listen to our young people, listen to other cultures, listen to other ways of thinking in order to adapt and change. We've also had to become more creative. We're in an environment now where social media, grassroots organization are changing the way people assemble and act. And you'll notice some of the things that are going on in the news today with Occupy Wall Street or Occupy Lansing. These are people who felt they haven't been listened to and needed a forum and an opportunity to share their message. And they're having that opportunity right now. In the past couple of years, the Michigan Chamber's also seen a divergence in opinions about where our state should be going and what we should be expecting from our business community. There have been several new organizations that have popped up to add to the complexity of the dialogue. There are people who have new points of view that haven't been approached before. We have larger corporations that have one perspective, small business with another perspective. We have new chambers of commerce in the state, ethnic chambers of commerce. We have a new Michigan Black Chamber of Commerce. We have a Michigan Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, an Arab American Chamber of Commerce, and over another dozen ethnic chambers of commerce that have just formed their own council to represent their communities. And one of the comments that we receive frequently at the Michigan Chamber, and I have to admit, we don't do diversity very well as a primary goal, was should we be worried that these new organizations are popping up, that they're creating divisiveness in the business community? And I would actually say the opposite, that there are immense opportunities to have these organizations represent these individual communities and share with us their points of view that have not been able to be expressed within our organization previously. And while some people may think that that's a divisive thing to split their business communities and create a different agenda, quite the opposite. I feel like those are opportunities for them to center in on something that's important to them and find ways for all of us to work together. It took and still takes a lot of effort, coordination, communication for our organization to work with the other organizations in the state, business organizations, labor organizations, education, health, government. And I think the only way that our state is able to move forward is if all those organizations can come together and have the dialogue in an open and sensitive way where people are listening to each other and thinking about what the end goal here is going to be, which is to return our state back to a prosperous community. The roles that leaders need to play in this environment need to be to convene all the stakeholders, to listen first, and to find out what is of importance to them, and then identify the common ground. If we're able to move forward on the common ground and improve the situations of most of our citizens, I think we're on the right road to moving Michigan forward. Otherwise, we're working in an environment of distrust, which can be viewed by such demonstrations as what are going on in Lansing today. What I know is certain and is key to leading our state is that each of us as individuals have a part to play within the process. And it's not that we're going to be sitting in our living rooms or in a conference room or even on the sidewalk minding our own business and commenting about other people's jobs, our elected officials, the other leaders in our community. You know, they all have a part to play too, but it's each of us as individuals who are responsible to engage in the process, make sure that we're sharing our thoughts, and that we're acting on them in a responsible way. To be a leader, you must show up, share your point of view, and follow through. I'd like to challenge each of us in the room tonight to listen first, consider your own personal involvement in the process, and consider what we're each doing individually to help move our state forward. Are we listening? Are we being respectful of others? Are we participating? Are we leading our state? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob. Let's give Bob and Provost another round of applause. Thank you for your work tonight. Thank you very much. Well, now we're going to have the opportunity to experience some live classical Turkish music. Today's music performance are Yavuzhan, Ebru, and Amin. Yavuzhan is a graduate of student of public policy at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. He'll be playing the tambour. He's been playing the tambour for more than 15 years and is a student of a very well-known Turkish composer and performer, Gülçin Tanrıkoğlu. How do I do? Ebru is Yavuzhan's lovely wife. She'll be playing the bendir. She's a pharmacist and owns a pharmacy in Ankara, Turkey. And Amin, who is an assistant professor of civil engineering at MSU, will be playing the ney. Please welcome them to the stage.